My name's Rich Harrington, and welcome to this edition of Understanding Adobe Photoshop. Now, there's a great blur command inside of Photoshop that produces very natural results. Many of you are used to using the Gaussian blur to create a gentle blur, but there is a slightly more time-intensive but much more natural lens blur command. Here's how it works. I've opened up an image here, and I could choose Filter, Blur, Lens Blur. Now, by default, this loads in, and you see that it creates a nice natural blurring, including the ability to have some specular highlights. So if we want, we could increase the amount here, and we could even say, go ahead and take those bright areas and let them go specular, and you'll see that the whites start to flare, and we'll lower the threshold so more areas get triggered. There we go. See, we get a nice blooming effect. Now, I went way too far there just to show it off, but we'll back that off a bit to a value of maybe 8 or 9 and set the tolerance back up to about 215. But that's nice. Now we've got some nice glowing highlights where the sunlight was hitting. You've got the ability to also put some noise back in so the blurred areas still look natural. Now, if you put too much noise in, it's going to look grainy, but the trick is to find the right amount of grain that matches the original photo. I'll usually put that in. It does a nice job of sort of evening it out and making the blurred image look like it actually has photo grain, so it was acquired in camera. Now, the blur I put on here was very heavy, and it was applied to the entire image. I'm going to show you a little trick, though. I'll press Escape for a second, and in this image, I've already done the work. I've made an alpha channel that defines the robot here. To do that, you just make a new channel. It's automatically filled with white or black, and you could paint to add or subtract. If you need to, I could just press Command-I to invert that, grab my paintbrush, and with black, start to paint in the areas that I want to see protected. Now, that's fine. I've already done that work, so I'll use the one I've made. And this time, we'll choose Filter, Blur, Lens Blur. And we'll choose to actually use that alpha channel as a source. Notice in this case that it is masking those robots that were in black, keeping them from getting blurred. So we can go ahead and keep the foreground robots, the first two, in focus, and just play with the radius there and blur the background area. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of specular highlights there on the background, letting that go a little bit bright, and just put a little bit of noise back in to even that out. That's looking really good. If we need to, we could play with the focus distance up here. And of course, the shape to get a different blurring effect. That's looking great. I'll go ahead and click OK. And it's applied. And notice we've got a nice before and after, using that alpha channel to isolate the lens blur effect to a very specific part of the photo. So, very cool filter, works wonderfully well to isolate parts of your area and really control the depth of field. For Understanding Adobe Photoshop, my name's Rich Harrington.